the beach. He's clearly in cooler climates where it gets dark early.
Yep. So
that's for sure. That's for sure. If we had beaches like that in Ireland, I'll probably be there by now.
That's great.
Well, let's get the podcast started.
Let's do it, man.
Let's get old James Scott Campbell.
You are at the net. And welcome, friends, to another episode of the At the Net podcast, powered by Tex-Mex Productions. Working the soundboards in the back of the house are our producers, D-Mac and Dave the Brain. Time to say hello to your hosts, Craig Bell and AJ Shabria, as they're about to take us through 3 sets of tennis, talking life and all the news as it seems to them. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Bell.
All right, that would be thanks to our At the Net podcast girl. That would be Margot Carter for that. Guess what the word of the day is? This is a brain word, tubular.
Tubular. Very beachy, man.
Yes, very, very beachy right there.
Yes.
She had
I know Margot.
Tubular introduction. Welcome, fans of the great game. You're listening to Season 1, Episode 103.
103rd episode, mate. Well done.
Yeah, but At the Net podcast, that would be with AJ Chabber, who's going in and out. He's kind of like the ghost.
I am a little ghostly today. And, of course, Craig Bell, as we call him, CB. And we've got a fun show tonight. And Mark knows the one with the tubular Queen's accent,
yes, right.
the beautiful voiceover she did for us, Margaret Carter. Well done.
Thanks also let me do that again. It's one of those days again, you know.
Of course.
Thanks go out to our good amigos at Tex-Mex Productions. That would be one Darian D. Mac McBrayer and Dave the Brain. He's here. Let's see if I can get him on there. There he is. He's there.
He's hard
there,
to see.
Right there. He's there, but he's there. All right, Dave's there. Hey, Dave, how you doing? Yeah, he's doing fine there. And so he's helping us move the dials and buttons to get us back on Facebook. We should be back on Facebook. I'll be checking to make sure that we're on Facebook Live and also YouTube Live right now. But we are real people. We are not holograms, even though that
I feel like a hologram. Yeah.
We've got a new backdrop because we had to go to a new location just for this special episode, this tubular episode.
My only hope is people don't think I'm just a round coconut in that tree up there. But whatever it is, I like it, and let's roll.
Well, you have the beard for it today.
I do.
You kind of like a couple of days at the beach for AJ. Also, be sure to like and follow us on our new page. We have a new page, ATNP, with AJC and CB1.
Love it. ATNP. Everybody knows that means At the Net podcast. Yes.
That's right. You can be a nethead over there. We've already got quite a few followers, and we appreciate we're building our page back up. We'll just say that we're trying to get all of our other episodes back as well, and we'll have everything going hopefully here in the next few weeks. But check out our good work on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Plus, check out also Fireside, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor Breaker, CastBox, Overcast, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, and Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I did that all with no breath. You know?
That is a mouthful, lungful.
That's all the important communication sites the kids find popular today, right? Do the kids,
no question.
Kids like those kind of things?
I think so.
They
You
do?
named them, yeah.
And then also, if you want to do the tubular presentation like our good friend Margot Carter speaks the Queen's English.
That she does.
Hit us up on some digits over on Facebook or something, and we'll send you the run sheet to be able to read the opening intro. So. But speaking of tubular, our guest this afternoon, I was going to say evening, but it's this afternoon.
Evening for him in Ireland and afternoon for us here in Texas.
He's certainly a tubular guy. He's a tubular guy. He's the visionary, tubular visionary. You probably didn't know that those two words ever went together, tubular and visionary, but he is. Of SportsProsConnect.com. That would be Mark Wylam. Mark, how you doing? Welcome to At the Net podcast.
Thank you very much, guys. It's a pleasure to be here. I've got a slightly different background for me, just a bedroom, so it's pretty boring, but
well,
a little bit different to you guys.
Love it, man.
Enjoying the waves in the background there.
Yeah. Oh, no. I like seeing AJ go in and out also, too. It's really funny. You know, this will be a good episode.
Very ghostly, the two of you.
Yeah, right. And I'll be signing off here in a second because I'm going to be doing some work here. But, no, we appreciate, you coming on. You were supposed to be on with us about 6 months ago. Unfortunately, I had to change the episode because of an illness, but I'm back. And we had to get rescheduled because we were looking forward to talking with you this summer, probably in the June, early July time frame. Had you set up for then. But, life happens sometimes, but we've got you here today, and we certainly
Yes.
appreciate you joining us at about, what is it, about almost 8 o'clock your time now over in
It's
Ireland?
actually about 7 o'clock. Yeah,
Se-
not too
7 o'clock.
bad.
Okay, well,
About 7 o'clock. So yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for the invite. Yeah, I would have loved to have done it 6 months ago or
Yeah.
however it was.
Yep.
These things happen, and I'm glad to see that you're fully mended now, Craig.
He is happy and healthy, and we're thrilled to have him back. Our plan tonight, folks at home, is to go 3 sets with Mark. First set, we're going to talk about his background in tennis and in the business of tennis. Second set, we'll talk about current projects and future projects. And the third set, we'll let our hair down and have some fun. Craig has always some engaging, funny questions to really get to know the real Mark Wylam. But in the meantime, Mark, tell us, going from the UK to Ireland, tell us about how you got started in the great game of tennis.
Yeah, well, it's a long time ago, let's just say.
Yeah.
But no, my father was really big into his tennis. He was an expat, and he used to live in various different countries abroad, places like Yemen, Bangladesh, Abu Dhabi, really Zambia. So the places that I guess that his role was to put electricity into places without it, so the poorer countries there. We sometimes went with him, other times we stayed at home, but essentially it all came from him. So I have a lot to thank for him. Unfortunately, he passed away 5-6 years ago, but he passed me down a legacy, which was fantastic, and this is what I've created from there. So we were in Yemen back in the 80s, and he would have put me on a court. He would have got me playing and hitting the ball, and yeah, it just went from there, really. AJ,
Is that in the capital? Is it Sana'a?
Sana'a, yeah. We were actually lucky enough to live next to the vice president.
Really?
It was really interesting times over there, and I do remember every now and again there was curfews, and really quite frightening things happened. But we were, but obviously not as bad as it is now. Let's just say.
Yeah. And when was that? Was that in the 90s when you were young over there?
I'm trying to think. It was 86 to 90. I was there.
I see. Yeah. And you picked up the game with probably very warm, dry weather down there in the desert.
Yeah, it would have been warm enough. I wouldn't have known much different, to be honest with you, being that age. But I went to an American school there, school with 100 different nationalities. So there were a lot of people, a lot of expats still living there in those sort of countries. And I remember learning at the British High Commission, which was called the BHC.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we just hit the first balls, and it started from there, AJ.
That's awesome. When you moved back to the UK and then later to Ireland, how did you keep up with the game and take it to another level, which clearly you have?
Yeah, well, the transition there, I was always playing at school. I then went to university and did a degree in business management. The summer I graduated there, I decided to take a coaching qualification, PTR qualification, did in a week or so, and developed coaching from there. So I started in various different clubs just around the local area. I'm originally from the Brighton area in the UK, so there was quite a few different clubs around there. Started playing team matches, started coaching the teams, and yeah, developed from there. I would say to you that I've been qualified since 2003. I've never really considered coaching as a full-time career. I've always done 2-3 months here or a couple of hours here and there. Never really coached on a full-time permanent basis for long periods, just sort of periods as they come. But love the game, still play 3-4 times a week, and do a little bit of coaching here in Ireland. But again, the weather isn't very conducive for it, let's just say.
Not this time of year for sure, but probably, hopefully in a few months. Tell us about what you look for. You know, I'm sort of looking ahead to set number 2, where we'll talk about your current projects. But I'd like to add a little detail to how the way you came up through PTR certification and coaching certifications that you've attained, how have those criteria affected how you do recruiting for athletes and tennis pros?
I guess it's just the knowledge. The knowledge that I have of coaching is quite immense, and although I may not have coached on court that much, I still keep up with all the certifications. I've been to GPTCA, I've looked into MTM, the modern tennis methodology, and obviously LTA in the UK. So every coaching certification is different, and this is the wide thing, that the part of my platform and part of what I do now is obviously the matching pros with different facilities around the world, and everybody's got a different journey. It's absolutely brilliant what I'm doing at the moment, because everybody has a different background that they can share. So we would speak with each other. We would find out a little bit more about their background, whether they had a strong playing background, whether they started coaching from 20 years after playing. You know, everyone has a different story. So really interesting.
Mark, you mentioned going to university. Here in the United States, we have most universities have men's and women's tennis teams. Some may not. But over in Great Britain, where you went to university, tell us what the sports scene was like and how you kept up with tennis. Did you play intercollegiately, or how did you guys do that?
To be honest, no. It's taken off a lot more, I know, in sort of college university tennis at the moment. I know some of the universities are really quite strong now and really have that as part of their curriculum as well. There's various different coaching courses that happen, but when I was there, it was very, very little. I mean, the only way that I used to keep up with the game is to play league matches for my local club. So it meant when I was at university, I had to go back all the weekends. I was only 2 hours away, so it wasn't a massive journey or anything. But that's the only way I would have kept on playing. So it was more. I mean, the university that I went to is fantastic, but I didn't really get heavily involved in the sporting side of things. There were sports teams, but there definitely wasn't a tennis team at the time, and I'm sure there is now. I went to Southampton, which was about an hour and a half away from where I was based in Brighton, and it never really appeared, if I'm honest with you. But I do know that they are stronger now in the sporting arena, definitely.
Right, and tell us about the transition over to Ireland from Great Britain to Southern England.
Yeah, I was. It was fantastic, really. I met my wife in 2000 on a holiday. I was traveling around the Greek islands, and I met my wife Michelle, and had a bit of a fling there. Anyway, as you do. And then we stayed in touch for a couple of years afterwards. Nothing really came of it. And then we lost touch, and my wife changed jobs and lost my contact, and nothing happened for 5, 6, 7 years. I think 7 years. Then one day I saw her on the big world of Facebook, and just added her. Yeah. And I actually use this story a lot, but I don't think I've ever had a quicker acceptance on my Facebook friends than that.
That's tremendous.
But then we started going back and forth, and I was traveling to her and she was traveling to me. And it just happened that my job at the time, which was in the banking industry, they knew the situation. They knew that I was thinking of going away. They said to me, and it's probably the best thing that could ever have happened, really. They said to me, either commit for another year or just put in your notice, kind of thing. And it was harsh, but it kind of pushed me in the right direction. I don't know how I would have been if I had to stay much longer. And I was going back for a week at a time, and it was difficult to find anything. But obviously that pushed me in the right direction. So I just decided to up sticks and go.
Up sticks and
decisions I could have
go.
made. It's fantastic.
And here you are in northwest part of Ireland. That's tremendous. Let's head to our second set. I love that we've gotten to know you a little bit more. I want the folks at home to figure out what Sports Pros Connect is and how you're able to do that, because you're matching athletes, you're matching tennis coaches, and fantastic places all over the world, whether they are resorts, clubs, or federations. Tell us a little bit about how you got into it and what you function as, how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I mentioned my father earlier on in the piece, and again, it was down to him. He wrote a book called "Revolutionize Your Social Tennis Tournaments," and it was a book a manual which was sold all over the world. He named the business Social Tennis, and he created a coach directory. And this would have been early 2000s, 2001, 2002, 2003. And I was coaching, so I got involved. And then, unfortunately, he told me that he was given 6 months to live, and that he wanted to hand down the business to me. And obviously, what can you do? You have to accept that kind of thing. And it was the best thing that ever happened, really. I still didn't realize what I was going to do with it. I didn't really know. And I wasn't enjoying the job that I was doing. I was actually working for United Health Group, Optum, believe it or not, in Ireland. And just decided to give up that job. I didn't enjoy it. So I decided to give up and get more involved in the tennis industry, and I did that, and I just did that by networking, by speaking to big names in the industry, to let people know my ideas, and went to various conferences. I'm quite well connected with Sarah Stone of the WTCA, so I went to a few conferences in New York, in Paris, Slovenia. I mean, I've been to about 15 different countries whilst promoting what I do, and it's just been fantastic. So it's just been a bit of networking and getting to know people, more people getting to know about me, and recommendations, and yeah, really just a lot of social media, a lot of time spent on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great.
Oh, that's good. As on the functional side of what you do, you are somebody who matches professionals with resorts or clubs. What do you do the most of in terms of the facility?
I guess there's a lot of resort work.
Mm-hmm.
That's quite high on the agenda. So companies that are looking at for 6 month positions, or coaches that are looking for 6 months, and resorts around Maldives, around Thailand, around sort of exotic places like you have in your background.
Yes.
There. I'm sure that's somewhere in the Maldives or somewhere around. But yeah, there's a lot of resort work. I'm connected with a few companies that run the management of resorts. Also academies and clubs. Yeah, it seems like it's happening a lot. I guess I will be honest to say is that most of the business that we have is Europe, Middle East, or Asia.
Right.
And the reason that is that it's so difficult to obviously get into the States if you're a non-US resident. So we haven't really got into that market just yet. And it hasn't made it any easier with COVID and the whole situation. So we have a lot of connections in America, having done a lot of trips, and often we're asked to find coaches in the US, but we don't tend to publicize it quite as much, and we might do the connections direct rather than using the platform.
Are American coaches attracted to some of the offerings that your company has?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of US coaches. A lot of them are on there from when I used to be called Social Tennis, and they were just having a profile on the platform. But a lot of American coaches are coming in because they feel like they want to get out of the country. Mm-hmm. A lot of them, and just have a change. And I think that's healthy. I think that everybody really should try a different country coaching wise. If they've been coaching for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, I think it's part of learning the game really to go abroad.
Yeah.
More and more coaches from the US are contacting me for sure.
That's nice to hear. I'm sure some of our audience would be interested in that. Tell us what you look for. I want to start with the resort, club, federation, or tennis facility, and then I'll ask you, so it's basically a two-part question, what you look for in a professional.
So is it? So what do you want me to answer first?
Let's go with the resort or club first.
Yeah. So look, it has to be from a lot of it is from social media. A lot of it is from people recommending our services. So what we do for academies, clubs, resorts, management companies is we basically create an annual membership. Promote them on our academies, resorts, and destinations section. Build them their own profile that really attracts coaches to them, and just says more about them. So they might be a club, they might have 20 courts, they might have 3 courts. We would promote their services, and then from time to time they would obviously be looking for a pro. So they would come to me direct. I would either advertise on our platform, therefore advertise on social media, therefore have new coach members, or I would do it on a recommendation basis where they might not necessarily want to announce that they're looking for coaches. And that could be for players, that could be for a federation, that could be for a performance academy. So they would have to tell me what sort of basics they're looking for, what basics they have in terms of facilities. And then we could try to match them with the different coaching requirements. So we have about 700 active coaches on the platform, and they would all vary from so many different sort of countries, first of all, but also coaching qualifications, so many different backgrounds, and it's really quite difficult to ascertain exactly what profile of coach an academy is looking for.
I see.
But what we do in terms of answering that for the coaches, we build them like an online CV, and like an online resume, and we would add every bit of their qualification, more information on their experience. We'd put photos together, we'd put videos together, we'd have them with testimonials, and we'd add their social media. And potentially we would promote them around our social media if they're looking for that promotion. We also have an active WhatsApp group where we announce all the different jobs that come onto the platform, so that people don't have to keep checking every day to see if there's new ones. We mention it to them on the WhatsApp group, and then they get the opportunity to apply. Once they're a member, they get the opportunity to apply before it goes out onto our social media. So that's a big benefit for them.
You mentioned membership. This business model is great for both facilities as well as coaches, professionals. I noticed the name is Sports Pros Connect. Are you doing tennis, racket sports, squash, pickleball, that kind of stuff? Or is it scalable to everything? And what are you doing right now?
Yeah, well, it's interesting that I converted from social tennis.
That was your dad's sort of invention.
Yeah. So I stayed with that for about 2 years, but it wasn't really doing what I wanted it to do. So I think it's May 2018, I converted and I basically rebranded to Sports Pros Connect. The idea was always to go into other sports, and I felt that the platform could do that. But the amount of work it takes to build up this, it means that really I need somebody else that's in that other sport that can really drive it. So it hasn't quite taken off. So we would look for pickleball pros, we would look for paddle tennis, and fitness as well, fitness coaches, S&C coaches. We've always got the option there if there's somebody that feels that they can help with connecting another sport together. There's definitely the opportunity. I feel that it's more of a platform associated to personal sports rather than team sports.
Right, individuals, personal sports, yeah.
Individual. So maybe racket sports, but maybe the likes of golf. That's always been on my agenda as well. But it's not quite come to fruition yet. Who knows what could happen in the future?
Yeah.
But actually, 2 years ago, just before COVID started, which was ridiculous timing again.
Yeah.
But, we created a platform for players as well, for players looking for sponsorship, and that was going really well. We started in January 2020, so imagine COVID hit sort of March 2020.
Right, exactly 2 months after this. Yeah.
It wasn't the greatest timing because then the whole world stopped. But we basically had sponsors that were looking for players. They were looking to offer players full-time permanent sponsorships, like 100% sponsorships. And therefore, we attracted quite a lot of different types of players to the platform. And then, of course, by the time it got to them speaking with the players, all of them pulled out. One of the sponsors was looking for 8 players. He was in the hotel business in Spain, and he went from one day, as you can imagine, running 25 hotels and owning 25 hotels. One day his income was absolutely amazing. The next, it was fairly non-existent. So he had to totally pull out of that project, which was a shame. Since then, we've continued the players platform, and we've partnered with a company called Circular, who are based in Scotland, and we have now become the recruitment partner for them. So they are actively looking for between 3,000 and 5,000 athletes from all sports.
That's mind-blowing given the amount of social media reach that those athletes might have. Tell us a little bit about what makes those athletes, first of all, which sports, and what makes those athletes attractive to these sponsors and their social media.
Yeah, well, it's a fantastic opportunity. Circular are actually a new business, and they call themselves social media sponsors. So what they require is that an athlete, we've started with tennis, and we're actually going live with a platform, or Circular are going live with a platform on Monday, tomorrow. But what it is that they are looking to aggregate these 3,000 to 5,000 athletes to a total social media following of 100 million. So if you think about that, that could be an average of 20,000 to 30,000 per athlete that joins, and they are in turn looking to offer them a sponsorship of between sort of $2,000 and 100,000. So we've offered contracts out there to players all over the world, and we have started with tennis, but it is totally open to any sport. And actually, there's 3 divisions. There's actually the sports division, entertainment division. So that includes musicians, that includes actors, comedians, and also the esports players, which is basically professional gaming.
Right. That's what I was going to ask. If esports was a part of this program, what about podcasting athletes?
Who knows? We could have a chat about that later, Craig.
That's good.
I just threw it out there. I didn't want to.
That's hilarious.
No, absolutely. We're looking at the end of the day. We're looking for talented individuals from whatever era they are, from whatever genre they are, I guess. And for example, the tennis players that we have about 90 odd that are ready to sign contracts, and sort of 30 or 40 that have already. These players vary from 12, 13-year-olds who are looking to take their game to the next level in tennis Europe, ITF Juniors, USPTA, USTA tournaments, to those that are already playing on tour, already in the top 100. So it really varies, and it's really interesting to see how many followers each person has. Because some people that are in the top 200 in the world at tennis and they have a social media following of 1,000.
Not big yet. Yeah.
Not big at all, and yet they've done nothing with it because they've not really needed to monetize it. It's not been part of their plan, and that's fair enough. But we're a social media sponsor, or Circular, a social media sponsorship company, so they are looking for people that have a following. So we have now introduced a coaches and a legend side of things as well. But we require a minimum of 10,000 followers for the coaches and the legend side of things. And it's a really exciting time. I mean, because they can help introduce and they can earn money from introducing, but they can also earn money from doing the posts and putting social media posts out for some of the amalgamated brands.
Oh, that's great. And when an athlete is sponsored by one of the companies that have engaged with you, do they do meet and greets? Of course, they do social media, which you mentioned. Do they do a patch deal? How do they add value back to the sponsors?
No, so it's very much amalgamated with 3,000 brands. So it's only social media promotion. It's not that we want money back from them afterwards. So the money that we give away is theirs to help them with their career. We don't want anything like that. We don't want people to put badges or logos on their clothes either. It's all about daily posting. So they'll have to post about a different brand every day. And there's enough content out there for our 3,000, 5,000 distributors to put a different post out every day and really engage with their audience. And that's what it's all about. It's engaging with the audience, therefore developing into sales for us. So it's a business at the end of the day. It's guaranteed sponsorship. It's guaranteed monthly payment. And it really helps these athletes along. It helps them with their social media because actually social media is becoming more and more important on a day-to-day basis. And it really helps them to gain traction out there. So it may be that through the post that they do, they could connect with another sponsor and be sponsored financially by this person. It could be that there is a brand that is wanting to do a photo shoot for 30 tennis players in the US. And they could all be called, and they could all get extra money on top of their annual payment as well. So it could result in a lot of different things, and it's just a really exciting part. Exciting time to be in it. What
an exciting opportunity you're number one taking advantage of, but number two providing for so many athletes and so many companies. I want to, we're normally very positive and uplifting, but I want to delve, if we could, please, into the humorous and negative side. I was asking you, and you did a fantastic job to talk about current and future projects, and you mentioned what you look for in a resort or entity or an academy and what you look for in a coach or pro. Tell us what you don't look for. Tell us the worst bloody ones, whether it's on the resort side or the coach side. And the follow-up question to this might be, do you coach them up a little, or are you like, look, this is not for us?
I was hoping something like this would come up because, yeah, of course, it's you can get some horror stories.
Oh, no.
I'll give you one coach horror story, and I'll give you one facility horror story.
Please do, yeah.
So I was. I've been working with this guy for quite some time. Seems a nice enough guy. He always gets back to me on time, and I mean, he had some difficulties in the past, and had his father had I think unfortunately passed away, or at least caught COVID or something like this, and he had to leave his current job, which was very unfortunate. So he came to me about another job, and obviously put him through. He had an interview, and such was his state of mind, I think, he stopped the interview to go and get a glass of wine.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I just think that's absolute classic. I think the actual manager interviewing him was just absolutely startled. He actually physically stopped the interview in order to go and grab a glass of wine.
Mark, was this on a video conference call, or was it? It was okay. So he was in his home or his office, paused, got wine.
Yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful. I'd love to know the guy's name. My mind is profiling him. Like, what country is he from? I feel like I already know, but I'm not going to let you. Yeah,
divulge that. But
I'm not going to let you.
It just was one of my stories, and
that's funny,
a fantastic one, and yeah, hilarious. But
that's awesome.
On the other hand, obviously, you do get facilities that have problems that aren't great at getting back to their. To their prospective coaches, and there's a lot of them out there, and we're really trying to iron that out. If I've had some feedback in the past, and it's all about trying to maximise and better people at the end of the day. But there's from time to time it's the communication. I think we're trying to do as professional a job as we possibly can. And we get back to our coaches, our athletes, as much as we possibly can, timely. But unfortunately, some people just don't, and it takes a long time. And then by the time that you've waited, and by the time that nothing's happened, COVID happens, and such things. But so it's interesting. So you've got to just be a little bit careful. We're at the end of the day, we do the connections. We make those connections, and we want to do a professional job for the academies or the clubs or the federations.